Hi everyone, Squintina here, and today is a different kind of video, at least for me. Like many other YouTubers, a new year means a chance to reflect on how the channel has turned out. And while most others might have done this in January, I felt it would be best to do that after the announcement showcase. See, I chose to focus on this channel for Shadowbringers, so it makes perfect sense to review things that have worked, and the things that haven't, now that Shadowbringers is coming to an end and the next expansion has been officially announced. First, I would like to start by thanking all of you, because I've had so many nice comments from people telling me how much they enjoy the videos, and it always lights up my day, and it helps me keep going. And thanks to all of you, we crossed over 1,000 subscribers on December 31st of 2020. It was a fantastic way to start the new year. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I've also had some rather nice and polite comments leaving feedback, and I just want to say I read and appreciate all comments. And actually, a big part of this video will be me addressing some of these comments. Also, if any of this seems scripted, it's because it is. I've learned that I speak a lot faster when I write a script, and I have found a huge difference in the length of videos with the same amount of content between those that have scripts and those that do not. So for the sake of trying to keep this somewhat reasonably length, yes, it's scripted. So when Shadowbringers launched, I decided to tackle on making ether current and sightseeing log videos. I quite enjoyed these, and I will still be making those for the next expansion. I am also considering going back and doing them for the older expansions as well. Some of the feedback I received was to open up the big map. I made a lot of the videos using streaming content, using the mini map instead, but I will try my best to open up the big map as well. Include NPC travel coordinates. Specifically, this was about Amarang. In order to get to the bottom section by foot, we had to talk to an NPC. Since I found all of my ether currents while I was doing the story, and I didn't have to go back afterwards, I didn't really pay attention to that fact, and I will keep this in mind for the next one. Also, including alternate means of doing certain sightseeing logs. Some of them were doable multiple ways. For example, there was one in the Crystarium where you could either do a jump or you could walk around a ledge. So I will try to look for these whenever possible. And the most important one, making sure the coordinates are accurate. There was one video where I had a typo. So, job and class controller guides were a big part of my content, and yes, I will be doing this again for Endwalker. I will be going hard at leveling, as I would like to get these out much faster. Some of them came out a year or later after Shadowbringers, and that's just very late. My goal will be to have them all out before 6.1. But if that's too ambitious, then at least before 6.2? I am a healer main, and I still plan on staying one, despite my recent love of Machinist, so of course those would be the first ones I would level. Sorry tanks and DPS. But here is some of the feedback I have received. Having the bar highlighted during the video. I do tend to rely on using the tooltip instead of the bar highlight because it's just easier from a video making perspective for me to drag and drop using my mouse. However, I will try to keep this feedback in mind as much as possible. Also, apparently roll actions cannot be placed early via the setup macros, so that's just something I need to warn people about in each video. It was also suggested that for my setup macros, I also include a macro to remove the existing actions, so I'll be adding that as well. There was also a mention that apparently L3 is not configurable on the PS4. That seems odd to me. I play on PC. I do have a PS4 and a Stormblood license for Final Fantasy XIV. So I will be taking a look at the differences in settings between, PC and PS4 when I make the controller styles video. And lastly, people did ask how to set up the double and expanded, so I will be including a quick segment in each video on that as well. But considering how much I ended up hating having to repeat myself regarding sprint on R3, I think I will record this once in a separate video and simply embed it as a reference into each job video. So, there are some other feedbacks that are worth talking about. People liked that I explained why I placed things in certain ways, so I do want to keep this going. And I did, however, have 2 video formats. For battle jobs, I took on the videos as a controller guide first and foremost, and then I mentioned job things when it was relevant to the setup. For Fisher and Crafter, I did the opposite. It was first and foremost a class guide that also happened to have a controller setup in it. Let me know which one you prefer, but I am leaning towards the newer style. Either way, I will still explain why an action is placed the way it is. It only changes the focus of the video. For battle jobs, the job guide will be explained at an entry level, and I would still recommend seeking out other sources for rotations and melding priorities and things like that. There was one person who wished I would show rotations such as an opener in the battle controller guides, which I think I did for like 1 or 2 of them. When I test out the setups, it is usually on a training dummy, using rotations that I found on the balance. So yes, I do test out the openers, but I don't want to record that, I really don't. The reason is very simple, and I want to be upfront about this. I am a healer main. Forever and always. I do play the other jobs to level them, because I am an achievement hunter. I also do fates with them, also for achievement hunting purposes, and sometimes I even do dungeons and trials on them. But I don't feel comfortable having the extra pressure of recording myself, and therefore being perfect, while I test out these openers to make sure the setups are comfortable. So, I will consider this for the jobs I feel more comfortable on, such as the healers, machinist, and paladin, but I can't guarantee it for all jobs. I just can't. And following the, above statement, all of my setups should be considered a starting template. If you main a DPS, you will probably think of a way to improve my setup. There is obviously going to be a skill gap between a Dragoon main doing Savage and me doing Dungeons and Fates. Adjust anything you need. However, that being said, someone did ask for this for crafter rotations. I am going to be releasing a video, most likely this coming week, on how to use Teamcraft Simulation, and I will be showing examples on how to use the crafting actions with it. So it's not really a rotation so much as examples, but it is something I feel comfortable with, so it is coming. Next up, a very quick section on World of Warcraft. Some of you might have noticed, yeah, I do have a few World of Warcraft videos. I was going to play it and possibly make class guides, but then things fell apart. I do get comments on how to import my setup and how to copy from one character to another, and I will have a video on that at some point this month. It's coming. You can hold me to it. If I don't send it out, you can harass me on Twitter. Go right ahead. And then there was also some general feedback. So, for those who participated in the mic test video, thank you very much for the feedback. I really needed it. But yes, you're probably aware there were some comments, very nicely said by the way, left about my audio and sound quality. In some videos it came out really muddy, and in other videos the background music was too loud. And there were also some videos where the video quality itself was mentioned. So, I believe the audio is something I've improved on. I ended up doing a lot of research on audio mixing. I set up a bunch of rare plugins correctly, I think, I hope. And I also changed the placement of my mic to be pretty much right next to me at all times. Let me know if it still needs work, and I will keep trying to make it better. For the background music, mixing issues, I simply had to have learned to listen better. That's it. The video quality should also be fixed. So the reason it got worse is that in my earlier videos, which had actually very good video quality, they took ages for me to render. For those who don't know, rendering is the process of converting your finished product into a video that can be uploaded, on YouTube. So this is after all of the recording and after all of the editing is done, okay? We're not talking about the time doing that. We're talking about the time just converting the finished product to something I can upload. And on some of them, it would take me a full 1 to 2 days Okay, we're talking literally over 24 hours of not being able to use my computer for anything else. Which is why I ended up lowering the quality. But I brought it back up after my wonderful husband built me a new, far more powerful computer. So this should be a thing of the past, and if you want to compare the summoner video to the crafting of Fisher videos, it should be a noticeable improvement. So what about my other video series? During Shadowbringers, I did try a few other things out. Some of them, I just wasn't feeling it. For example, I did a few A rank, and I think one S rank, hunt guide. This was really a test to see if I wanted to make dungeon, raid, and trial guides. As of right now, I'm just not feeling it. Hunt guides are only useful on the initial launch, but every patch makes them more trivial as people kill them even faster. And as far as dungeons and raid guides, there are already so many other wonderful content creators who make amazing guides, and I would rather fulfill niches that are not as covered in the community. A similar reasoning applies for why I won't be making news videos. I did try it out twice, once with a video covering a live letter, and another time covering a lodestone Moogle treasure trove. I had a lot of fun making these, but that was mostly because I was testing out a video editing technique with having my in-game character as a floating avatar, and that was a bunch of fun. But content-wise, while these videos are certainly a lot easier and faster to make, I just feel like there are enough content creators out there doing these. So if you're wondering why I didn't, recap what just happened in the showcase or make a reaction video, that's why. I'm not interested in it. Then there was also a few mount showcase videos. Originally I was thinking of doing one for each mount. While the series is not cancelled, I don't think I'll keep to that original premise. I'm going to stick to just whatever collector's edition mount the next expansion will have. But that being said, if you really want to see what a mount looks like, especially on the Lalafell, you can certainly let me know, and I'll make it happen. But it will be basically request only unless I really want to make a mount showcase. So what's coming out on this channel between now and the next expansion? I already mentioned a few that are coming out, but here's the full list of what I'm thinking of making. I doubt I will finish them all in time, for the next expansion, so do let me know which ones you're interested in so I can prioritize them accordingly. So first are the ones that are definitely coming. The crafting helper tools, which is mostly going to be teamcraft. Then, the controller styles. That's not going to be its real name, that's just my short name for it. And that's going to be a guide on how to set up a controller hotbar, like the double, the expanded, your quick swaps, how to set up your keyboard hotbars for visibility if you want to do that, but also going to discuss different ways that people combine these. My style of using the double for weaving and for almost all of my visibility is not everybody's style, and I have seen other styles that I think are also very good, and I just want to mention them. I'm not going to have setups for each style, that's never happening, but I can still quickly mention different styles that I've seen that I think are also very good and worth considering. And yes, the WoW quick setup and imports video. It's coming. I promise. I hope so. Anyway, Blue Mage level 70 setup for tank, healer, dungeon DPS, and high-end content DPS. Yes, dungeon DPS and trial DPS are going to be two separate setups. There are some actions you just don't need for a trial that you should have for a dungeon. And yeah, those are the ones that are definitely coming. Now, as for the ones I want to do, and I kind of need feedback on which ones you want to see, at some point I did start a Blue Mage Carnival guide. I would like to maybe finish that and include an achievement guide for the special ones that require, specific things. As well as a Blue Mage spell guide, maybe, and a Chocobo racing and breeding guide, a squadron guide including tips for each command mission, and I think I mentioned sightseeing log and ether currents for the past expansions, a currency series maybe, where I explain all the different ways to earn but also make use of a currency, because a lot of people really don't know how to use their poetics. Oh my gosh. They really don't. And last but not least, somebody suggested I make an achievement hunting tip series. I am an achievement hunter, and I do enjoy optimizing multiple achievements together, so that could be a fun thing to do. So yeah, let me know what you think of the channel so far, and what you'd like to see, in the future. I'm also open to other ideas I might not have thought of, and any other feedbacks that have not yet been covered. So yeah, this was my channel review, and let's see what the rest of Shadowbringers and then the new expansion bring. Bye bye!